New Haven was supposed to be a peaceful colony. It had green fields and blue skies and families who had come to start new lives. Children played in the streets. Old people sat on porches. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. Then things began to change. It started small. A woman named Elena told her husband that he had promised to fix the roof. He said he had never made that promise. She said he had made it yesterday. He looked at her like she was crazy. A man named Thomas said good morning to his neighbor. The neighbor said good morning back, but the voice was wrong. Too high. Too fast. Thomas thought nothing of it. People had off days. A child named Lily came home from school. Her mother made her favorite dinner. Lily said thank you, but she did not hug her mother. She always hugged her mother. The mother asked if something was wrong. Lily said nothing was wrong. She just walked to her room and closed the door. These things happened all over New Haven. Small things. Easy to ignore. A laugh that did not sound right. A walk that was too smooth. A way of making tea that was different. The tea was fine, but the way the person held the cup was wrong. People noticed, but they did not talk about it. No one wanted to seem crazy. Then the Xylosian Council sent a message. It came to every screen on New Haven. A Xylosian official named Deep Thought stood before a white wall. His face was serious. His voice was low. Citizens of New Haven, he said. We have received reports of unusual behavior on your colony. We believe you may be dealing with a creature we call the Mimic. The colony went quiet. People stopped eating, stopped working, stopped breathing. The Mimic has no fixed form, Deep Thought continued. It is ancient. It has slept for 1,000 years. Now it is awake. It can perfectly imitate any living being after consuming their memories. It looks like you. It sounds like you. It knows what you know. He paused. No scanner can detect it. No test can reveal it. It could be your spouse, your child, your best friend. There is no way to know. The message ended. New Haven fell into silence. Then the silence broke into screams. People ran home. They locked their doors. They looked at their families with new eyes. A mother stared at her daughter. Was that really her daughter? The daughter had laughed differently this morning. The mother had noticed. She had ignored it. Now she could not ignore it. A husband looked at his wife. She had made coffee differently yesterday. She had used too much sugar. She never used too much sugar. He asked her about it. She said she wanted to try something new. He did not believe her. The colony governor ordered a lockdown. No one in. No one out. Ships were grounded. Communications were cut. New Haven was alone. The first night was bad. The second night was worse. A man named Carter accused his brother of being a mimic. The brother laughed. Carter pulled a knife. The brother stopped laughing. The brother ran. Carter chased him through the streets. Neighbors watched from their windows. No one helped. They did not know who was real. The brother escaped. Carter went home and cried. He had almost killed his own brother. But was that his brother? He did not know. He would never know. The third night, a woman named Myra Chen, granddaughter of the famous Myra Vance, called a meeting. She was young but smart. She had studied the Xylosian message carefully. Listen to me, Myra said. The Mimic wants us to tear each other apart. That is how it wins. It does not need to kill us. It just needs us to kill each other. People listened. They were desperate. We need to stay calm, Myra said. We need to watch. We need to remember. The Mimic can copy memories, but it cannot copy feelings. Not really. Not the deep ones. A man in the back shouted. How do we know you are not the Mimic? Myra looked at him. Her face was tired. You do not know. I do not know. That is the nightmare. But we have to trust something. I am choosing to trust that we are stronger together than apart. No one cheered. No one agreed. But no one left. They sat in the town square, watching each other, afraid to blink. That night, a child disappeared. A little boy named Sam. He had been playing in his yard. His mother looked away for 1 minute. When she looked back, he was gone. They found his clothes in the woods, neatly folded. No blood. No signs of a fight. Just clothes. Something had taken Sam. Something had worn his skin. Something was now walking around New Haven with a child's face and a child's voice and a child's memories. But it was not a child. The colony held its breath. No one trusted anyone. Parents looked at their children and wondered. Children looked at their parents and wondered. Neighbors locked their doors. Friends stopped speaking. Paranoia spread faster than any disease. It was in the water. In the air. in every whisper and every glance. And somewhere in the colony, wearing a human face, the mimic smiled. It did not need to kill. It just needed to wait. Humans would destroy themselves. That was the plan. But the mimic did not know humans very well. It knew their memories. It knew their fears. It did not know their stubbornness. And it did not know that a young woman named Myra Chen was already planning a way to fight back. Not with weapons. With something the mimic could never understand. With pain. Honest, ugly, human pain. The hunt was just beginning. The shuttle landed on New Haven 3 days after the lockdown began. It was small and gray and looked like it had been through many battles. The ramp lowered. A figure stepped out. Her name was Kale. She was Veth. Tall and thin, with pale gray skin and large dark eyes. But her face was not smooth like other Veth. It was scarred. Deep lines crossed her cheeks. A burn mark covered her left temple. She walked with a limp. Her voice, when she spoke, was cold. Not angry. Just empty. "I am here for the mimic," she said. The colony governor met her at the landing pad. His name was Governor Wells. He was tired and scared. His hands shook when he reached out to greet her. "You are the expert?" Wells asked. "I am the only one left," Kale said. "The others are dead." She did not explain. She did not need to. Her scars explained everything. Kale asked to see the town square. She walked slowly through the streets. People watched from their windows. They had heard she was coming. They did not know whether to hope or be afraid. She stopped at the edge of the woods where the boy Sam had disappeared. She knelt down. She touched the ground. She closed her eyes. "The mimic took him 3 nights ago," she said. "It has worn his skin since then. Somewhere in this colony, a child's face is hiding a monster." Governor Wells swallowed. "How do we find it?" Kale stood up. She looked at him with her large dark eyes. They were not kind. They were not cruel. They were just tired. "Stress," she said. "The mimic can copy memories. It can copy behaviors. It can copy voices and walks and laughs. But it cannot copy genuine emotion under extreme pressure. A real person, pushed to their limit, will show fear, or anger, or grief. A mimic will show calculation. It will think. It will plan. It will not feel." She looked around at the silent town. "We will test everyone. One by one. We will push them until they break. The ones who break like humans are safe. The one who breaks like a machine is the mimic." Governor Wells looked horrified. "Push them until they break? That is cruel." Kale's scarred face did not change. "The mimic is crueler. It wears children's skin. It eats memories. It leaves empty shells behind. My way is hard. But it works." The testing began the next day. Kale set up a small room in the town hall. One person entered at a time. The others waited outside. They could hear screams, cries, begging. They did not know what was happening inside. They only knew that everyone who came out was crying. Kale asked terrible questions. "Tell me about the worst thing you have ever done. Describe the moment you knew someone you loved was going to die. What does your child's cry sound like when they are truly afraid?" Real humans broke. They cried. They shook. They covered their faces. Some could not answer. Some answered in whispers. Some screamed. But all of them showed pain. Real, ugly, human pain. Kale watched each one carefully. She looked at their eyes, their hands, their breathing. She had hunted a mimic before. She knew what to look for. The mimic was smart. It did not reveal itself in the first round of testing. It waited. It watched. And it fought back. On the second night of testing, a fire broke out in the town hall. The testing room burned. All the records of who had been tested and who had not were destroyed. People ran to put out the fire. In the chaos, 2 people were found dead. A man and a woman. Their throats had been cut. "No one saw anything," Governor Wells said. His voice was shaking. Kale examined the bodies. "The mimic did this. It is trying to confuse us. To make us afraid. To make us turn on each other." It worked. The colony began to split into factions. One group accused another group of hiding the mimic. Neighbors who had lived next to each other for 20 years now pointed fingers. A man named Carter, the same one who had chased his brother with a knife, started a list of suspected mimics. The list grew every hour. A woman was dragged from her home. Her neighbors said she had been acting strange. She had forgotten her own birthday. She had laughed at a funeral. She screamed that she was human. No one listened. They tied her to a chair and demanded she confess. She cried for hours. They still did not believe her. Kale arrived and stopped them. She is human, Kale said. A mimic would not cry like that. A mimic would bargain, would calculate, would lie. This woman is just scared. The woman was released. But the damage was done. The colony was falling apart. That night, Kale sat alone in her quarters. She looked at her scarred face in a mirror. She remembered her last hunt. The mimic had worn her partner's face. She had not known until it was too late. Her partner had died. The mimic had escaped. Her scars were a reminder of that failure. She would not fail again. She stood up. She walked to the door. Outside, the colony was dark. No lights. No voices. Just fear. The mimic wants us to destroy ourselves, Kale whispered. But I have a different plan. She did not say what the plan was. She just walked into the darkness, her limp slowing her down but not stopping her. She was the hunter. And the hunt was not over. Somewhere in the colony, wearing a child's face, the mimic smiled. It had caused a fire. 2 deaths. Endless fear. The humans were eating themselves alive. But it did not know about Kale. It did not know about her scars. And it did not know that she had already found its weakness. She just needed to prove it. And she was willing to hurt everyone in the colony to do so. The colony of New Haven had fallen. Not to an army. Not to a disease. To fear. Streets that had once been full of children playing were now empty. Doors that had once been left open were now locked and barred. Neighbors who had once shared meals now crossed the street to avoid each other. The mimic had not killed many people. But it had killed trust. And trust was harder to bring back. A small group of survivors gathered at the edge of town. There was an old bunker there, built during the Creole War. Thick metal walls. A heavy door. Its own air supply. The group decided to wait there until help came. There were 7 of them. Elena was a human mother. Her husband had disappeared 3 days ago. She did not know if he was dead or if he was the mimic. Lena was Elena's daughter. She was 16. She had stopped speaking 2 days ago. Her eyes were always wide. Always watching. Marcus was a human engineer. He had built half the buildings in New Haven. He trusted machines more than people. Machines did not lie. Xylos was a Xylosian trader. He could not leave. His white robes were dirty. His pale face was tense. Vel was a Veth medic. She was old and kind. She carried a small medical kit everywhere. But her hands shook. Kale was the hunter. She sat apart from the others. Her scarred face was still. Her large dark eyes moved slowly from person to person. Watching. Always watching. And there was one more. A young boy named Sam. He was 8 years old. He had been found wandering in the woods. He said he was hungry. He said he was Sam. No one believed him. The real Sam had disappeared 6 days ago. His clothes had been found folded in the woods. Everyone knew what that meant. But no one could prove anything. So the child sat in the corner, eating the food Vel gave him, smiling a small smile that never reached his eyes. The first day in the bunker was quiet. People ate. People slept. People watched each other. The second day was worse. The power failed. Lights went out. The air scrubbers stopped. The backup system kicked in, but it was old. It would not last long. Kale checked the oxygen timer. 3 days, she said. Then we suffocate. Panic spread through the bunker like fire. Marcus ran to the generator. He opened the panel. His face fell. The main circuit is fried. I cannot fix it without parts. No signals, Xylos said. The bunker is shielded. We are alone. 3 days of air. 7 people. One of them was a monster. Elena pointed at the child. It is him. The real Sam is dead. That thing is wearing his skin. The child looked up. His eyes were wide. Innocent. Mommy, I am scared. Elena flinched. That was what Sam had called her. Only Sam used that word. It could be copying, Marcus said. That is what mimics do. Or he is really Sam, Vel said. We do not know. The arguing began. Elena accused Marcus. Marcus accused Xylos. Xylos accused Vel. Lena sat in the corner and cried. Kale did nothing. She sat against the wall. Her scarred face was still. She was waiting. Watching. The child watched too. He did not cry. He did not shout. He just watched. The second night came. Oxygen was low. People were tired. Their thoughts were slow. Elena woke in the dark. She heard a sound. Soft. Wet. She turned on her flashlight. The child was standing over Marcus. The engineer was asleep. The child's mouth was open. Too wide. Inside the mouth, there was no tongue. No teeth. Just darkness. Elena screamed. The child turned. Its face was still Sam's face. But the eyes were cold. Empty. Old. You are not my son, Elena whispered. The child smiled. No. But I have his memories. I know he loved you. I know you made him pancakes. I know he was scared of the dark. I know everything. The others woke up. Marcus grabbed a pipe. Xylos backed into a corner. Vel held her medical kit like a shield. Kale stood up. She walked toward the child. Her limp made her slow. But she did not stop. You made a mistake, Kale said. The child tilted its head. Did I? You ate Marcus's dream. You were hungry. You could not wait. Now we know what you are. The child laughed. It was Sam's laugh. High and happy. It was terrible. It does not matter. The air is almost gone. You will all be dead soon. I will wear your skins. I will eat your memories. I will walk out of this bunker wearing one of your faces. No one will ever know. Kale stopped 2 feet from the child. Her scarred face was calm. You made 2 mistakes. The first was eating Marcus's dream. The second was underestimating humans. The child stopped smiling. What do you mean? Kale turned to Marcus. The generator. Can you really not fix it? Marcus stood up. His eyes were sharp. I lied. I can fix it. I just needed everyone in one place. So we could watch. So we could see. He walked to the generator. He twisted 2 wires together. The lights flickered. The air scrubbers hummed. The child's face changed. Sam's face melted. The skin ran like water. The body grew. Taller. Grayer. The mimic stood before them. Its body rippled like liquid. Its face was a blank mask. Its eyes were black holes. You cannot stop me, it said. 1,000 voices speaking at once. Kale stepped forward. Maybe not. But they can. She pointed at the humans. Elena. Marcus. Lena. Even Vel and Xylos. They stood together. Scared. Shaking. But not running. The mimic looked uncertain. You are afraid. You should run. Elena shook her head. My son is dead. You killed him. I am not running anymore. Marcus raised his pipe. I built this colony. I am not letting a monster take it. Lena finally spoke. Her voice was small. But it did not shake. You can wear our faces. But you will never be us. The mimic took a step back. It had eaten many species. It had worn many skins. It had never seen anything like this. Creatures that were afraid but did not run. Creatures that were weak but stood together. It did not understand humans. And that was its third mistake. The bunker was silent except for the hum of the air scrubbers. The mimic stood in the corner, its form still shifting. It had stopped trying to look like Sam. Now it looked like nothing. A gray, eyeless thing with too many limbs and a mouth that opened sideways. It watched the humans with hunger. But it did not attack. Not yet. It was waiting. Always waiting. Private Leo Vance was not a famous soldier. He was 23 years old, with brown hair and a face that still looked like a boy's. He had been stationed on New Haven for only 3 months. He had never fought a real battle. He had never seen a monster. But he had a grandmother. And his grandmother was Myra Vance, the woman who had cracked the Creel flagship and taught the Xylosians how to build ugly ships. Myra had told him stories. Not about battles. About people. About what made humans different. Leo, she had said once, aliens can copy our weapons. They can copy our ships. They can even copy our words. But they cannot copy our scars. The inside ones. The ones that hurt when you breathe. Those are human. Those are real. Leo remembered those words now. He looked at the group. Elena, the mother. Marcus, the engineer. Lena, the teenage girl. Xylos, the trader. Vel, the medic. Kale, the scarred hunter. And the mimic, waiting in the corner. I have an idea, Leo said. Everyone turned. Even the mimic tilted its blank head. An old human story about a shapeshifter. The only way to find it was to ask everyone about their worst day. The shapeshifter could copy memories, but it could not feel the pain. It could not cry real tears. Kale's scarred face did not change. But her eyes narrowed. That could work. But it will hurt. Good, Leo said. Pain is the point. He turned to Elena. You first. Tell us about the worst day of your life. Elena closed her eyes. Her hands shook. My first child. A boy. His name was Daniel. He was born too early. He lived for 3 hours. I held him the whole time. He never opened his eyes. I named him anyway. I sang to him. And then he was gone. Tears ran down her face. I still sing to him sometimes. When no one is listening. Leo nodded at Marcus. The big engineer stared at the floor. A mining accident. 10 years ago. A tunnel collapsed. My best friend Jax was inside. I dug for 6 hours. When I found him, he was already cold. I sat with him for another hour. I could not leave him alone in the dark. His voice cracked. His eyes were wet. Lena spoke next. The teenage girl had not talked in days. My father. He died 2 years ago. He got sick. Slow. I watched him forget my name. Forget my face. At the end, he did not know me. But I held his hand anyway. I told him I loved him. He smiled. I think he remembered. Just for a second. She cried loud, ugly sobs. Her mother held her. Xylos the trader spoke. His white robes were dirty. I was at the Creole War. As a trader, I sold food to both sides. One day, a Creole ship bombed a human hospital. I helped pull bodies from the rubble. One nurse was still alive. She asked for water. I gave her water. She died in my arms. I have never sold food again. His hands were shaking. Vel the medic was last. The old Veth woman held her medical kit. My mentor. A Veth doctor named Senator when the plague came. He worked for 3 days without sleep. He saved 40 people. On the 4th day, he collapsed. I tried to save him. But his heart was gone. He died with his hand on mine. I still feel it sometimes. The weight of his hand. Her large dark eyes were wet. The bunker was quiet. Everyone had spoken. Everyone except Kale. Leo turned to the hunter. Your turn. Kale did not move. Her scarred face was still. Her eyes were empty. She did not cry. She did not shake. She did not speak. The others backed away. It is her, Elena whispered. She is the mimic. Kale looked at them. Something in her eyes shifted. Something tired. Something old. Then she smiled. A sad, broken smile. I am not the mimic, she said. Then why do you not feel pain? Marcus demanded. Kale looked down at her scarred hands. I stopped feeling pain years ago. Not because I am a monster. Because I am the hunter. I hunted a mimic before. It wore my partner's face. I hesitated. The mimic killed her. Then it came for me. She touched the burn mark on her temple. It gave me these scars. After that day, I decided I would never feel pain again. I buried it. So deep I cannot find it anymore. That is how I survive. Not by feeling. By not feeling. Leo stepped forward. He looked into her empty eyes. He saw deep, deep tiredness. I believe you. You are not the mimic. How do you know? Xylos asked. Leo pointed at Kale's hands. They were shaking. Just a little. Because she said she does not feel pain. But her hands are shaking. Her body remembers. Even if her mind does not. Kale looked down at her shaking hands. She seemed surprised. Maybe I am still human after all. The mimic lunged. Its sideways mouth opened wide. Its gray limbs reached for Kale's throat. But the humans were faster. Marcus swung his pipe. It hit the mimic's side. The creature screeched. Elena grabbed a chair. Xylos threw a metal container. Vel sprayed something from her medical kit. The mimic recoiled. Leo pulled Kale back. How do we kill it? Kale's eyes focused. The hunter was back. The core. In its chest. Break it. Leo looked at the mimic. Something glowed inside it. A small, dark light. Its heart. Leo ran. He dove under the mimic's reaching limbs. Claws scraped his back. He ignored them. He reached the glowing core. He grabbed it. It was cold. So cold it burned. Leo squeezed. The mimic screamed. 1,000 voices crying at once. Every person it had ever eaten. Every memory it had ever stolen. Then the core cracked. The mimic collapsed. Its gray body turned to dust. The dust floated. Then it was gone. The bunker was quiet again. Leo lay on the floor. His hands were burned. His back was bleeding. He was alive. Kale knelt beside him. She touched his face. You did well. Your grandmother would be proud. Leo smiled. She always said pain was the point. Outside, the sun was rising over New Haven. The nightmare was over. But the scars would remain. On faces. On hands. On hearts. That was the human way. The oxygen timer read 4 hours. The air in the bunker was thin. Heads ached. Eyes struggled to focus. Breathing felt like sucking water through a straw. The mimic was dead. Its gray dust lay in a corner. But the survivors did not celebrate. They were too tired, too scared, too empty. Leo sat against the wall. His hands were wrapped in bandages. His back still bled. Kale had cleaned the wounds. She had not spoken while she worked. She had just cleaned and wrapped and moved on. Elena held her daughter Lena. The teenage girl had stopped crying. She just stared at the wall. Marcus sat by the generator, watching the lights flicker. Xylos prayed in his own language. Vel checked everyone's pulse, one by one. The air scrubbers hummed weakly. They were dying. Just like the people in the bunker. Kale stood up. Her limp was worse now. She had hurt her leg during the fight. She did not complain. She never complained. "We need to get out," she said. "The door is sealed. But we can break the lock. It will take time. And strength." No one moved. They were all so tired. Kale looked at them. Her scarred face was hard. But her eyes were soft. "Almost. You survived the mimic," she said. "Do not die from bad air. Get up." One by one, they stood. Marcus grabbed a metal bar. Xylos found a heavy pipe. Elena and Lena pushed together. Vel held the light. Leo leaned on Kale. They attacked the door. Bang! 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 The metal bent. The lock cracked. Fresh air poured in. Cold and sweet and wonderful. They crawled out into the sunlight. New Haven was still there. The fields were green. The sky was blue. The nightmare was over. But the scars remained. They sat in a circle on the grass. No one spoke for a long time. They just breathed. The air tasted like life. Leo was the first to break the silence. "We survived," he said. "Not because we were strong. Not because we had weapons. We survived because we shared our worst days." Elena looked at him. Her eyes were red from crying. "You made us talk about Daniel," she said. "My first child. I have not told anyone about him in 15 years. It hurt. But it also helped." Marcus nodded. "Jax. My best friend. I have not said his name out loud in years. It felt like losing him all over again. But it also felt like honoring him." Lena spoke. Her voice was still small. But it did not shake. "My father," she said. "I watched him forget me. I thought that pain would kill me. But I am still here. He is still with me. In my memory." Xylos looked at his dirty white robes. "The nurse who died in my arms. I have carried her with me every day. I thought I was being punished. Now I think I was being trusted. She trusted me to hold her at the end." Vel touched her medical kit. "Senator, my mentor. He taught me that healing is not about fixing bodies. It is about sitting with pain. Not running from it. Sitting with it." They all looked at Kale. The hunter sat apart from the group. Her scarred face was still. But her hands were shaking again. "I told you I stopped feeling pain," Kale said. "I lied. I just buried it. Deep. So deep I could not find it. But it was always there. Waiting." She looked at her shaking hands. "My partner. Her name was Senna. She was kind. She laughed at my jokes. When the mimic took her, I could not save her. I have carried that guilt for 20 years. I thought hunting mimics would make it better. It did not. It just made me empty." Leo reached over and put his hand on her shoulder. "You are not empty," he said. "You are just full of things you will not let out." Kale looked at him. Her large dark eyes were wet. "Maybe," she whispered. "Maybe." The sun rose higher. The colony began to wake up. People came out of their homes. They looked at each other differently now. Not with fear. With caution. But also with hope. Governor Wells walked over to the group. He looked tired. But he was smiling. "The Xylosian Council has declared the mimic extinct," he said. "The one you killed was the last. You saved the colony. You saved the galaxy." No one cheered. They just nodded. Leo stood up. He looked at the people around him. Elena. Lena. Marcus. Xylos. Vel. Kale. Strangers a week ago. Now family. "We did not save the galaxy with weapons," Leo said. "We saved it with pain. Honest, ugly pain. We showed our scars. We shared our worst days. That is the human strength. Not walls. Not warships. The willingness to hurt. And the willingness to show it." Kale stood up next to him. Her limp was still there. Her scars were still there. But her eyes were different. Less empty. More alive. "The mimic could copy everything," Kale said. "Memories. Behaviors. Voices. Faces. But it could not copy suffering. It could not cry real tears. It could not feel the weight of a dead child or a lost friend or a mentor who died in your arms. That is why humans will always win. You are willing to hurt. And you are willing to show it. She looked at the group. I have hunted mimics for 20 years. I have never seen what I saw in that bunker. 7 people. 7 strangers. Sharing their worst days. Not running from the pain. Walking right into it. That is not weakness. That is the bravest thing I have ever seen. Leo smiled. It was a tired smile. But it was real. Now what? He asked. Kale looked at the sky. The sun was warm. The air was clean. Now we live, she said. We carry our scars. We remember our dead. We tell our stories. And we do not let the fear win. Elena stood up. She held her daughter's hand. I am going to make pancakes, she said. Sam loved pancakes. I will make them for him, even if he is not here to eat them. Marcus nodded. I will rebuild the town hall. Stronger this time, with a room for telling stories. So we never forget. Xylos took off his dirty white robes. He folded them carefully. I am going to become a farmer, he said. I am done trading. I want to grow things. Things that live. Vel smiled. I will deliver more babies. And I will tell them about Senator and about all of you. So they know what courage looks like. Lena looked at her mother. I will talk now, she said. I stopped talking because I was scared. I am still scared. But I will talk anyway. Kale looked at Leo. And you? Leo looked at his bandaged hands. I will go home, he said. I will visit my grandmother. I will tell her about the bunker. About the mimic. About the pain. She will understand. They walked back to the colony together. Not as strangers. As survivors. Scars and all. The sun was warm. The sky was blue. The nightmare was over. But the story was just beginning.